course. I take absolute personal responsibility. I was the candidate. I was the person who was on the ballot. If the election had been on October 27th, I'd be your president. And it wasn't. It was on October 28th, and there was just a lot of funny business going on around that.
Well, the election was actually November, not October. But, you know, social media having a field day with Hillary Clinton, saying that she would have won the election. It was on October 27th, meaning the day before James Comey reopened the FBI probe into the emails and Wiener laptop. Social media saying, you know, what Hillary Clinton's saying, you know, should have been on October 27th. Well, that's like the Atlanta Falcons football team saying it would have won instead of the New England Patriots if the last Super Bowl had ended in the third quarter. Or, you know, if that iceberg had been somewhere else in the ocean, the Titanic would have docked in New York City. Or how about this? If the Soviet Union's entire communist system had not collapsed, the Soviets would be running Europe. Let's bring in National Center for Policy Analysis Executive Director, and he is the former Florida congressman. He is retired Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. Good to see you, Colonel. So Hillary's now saying she would. It's good to see you. Hillary's saying she would have won if the election was in late October. What do you say?
Well, having been born and raised in Atlanta and being a lifelong Atlanta Falcons fan, I can kind of understand exactly what we're talking about here, because when you're up 28-3, you somewhat believe, okay, this is the middle of the third quarter and you might have this thing locked in. But if your strategy changes, you start to play to not to lose, and you don't have the same aggressive posture as far as your offensive play calling, your defensive play calling, you're in a prevent defense, and that's what we saw with the Clinton administration. They thought that they could glide this thing into a safe landing. And so no one prevented her from going to those key critical states where she should have been campaigning. She just decided that she would probably sit this thing out and allow the inevitable to happen. But the inevitable turned out to be that she lost. And that should be the only thing that she says if someone wants to talk about the 2016 election. I lost, and it's time for someone else to step up.
You know what, Colonel, people forget that Hillary Clinton, remember she had that meltdown and that video she had with the union members saying, and it was back in, I want to say, August or September of 2016, why aren't I 50 points ahead? Right? This is like after James Comey had shut down the FBI probe, right? So this is August, September. Yeah. Why aren't I 50 points ahead? She's yelling at the union members, right?
Well, one of the things is that if you surround yourself in an echo chamber, I remember Ms. Clinton talking about how she's just like everyone else. Well, she was not like everyone else, and she was not going out and talking to people, and she did not really have a clear economic message that talked about, you know, small business owners growing, and also she didn't have a good quality record when it came to national security and foreign policy.
You know, Colonel, even the media is upset with Hillary Clinton. Comedian Bill Maher, also MSNBC and former senior advisor to President Obama, David Axelrod, they are all saying, what are you doing, Hillary? Let's take a listen.
I don't know why she needs to be coming back. She had her turn, and it didn't work out. I compared her to Bill Buckner. The ball rolled through her legs.
That was pathetic, I'll say it. I let me go out, I'll get killed. Everybody I've talked to, Democrats, independents, Republicans alike in the meeting said that was pathetic.
Jim Comey didn't tell her not to campaign in Wisconsin after the convention. Jim Comey didn't say don't put any resources into Michigan until the final week of the campaign.
All right. A lot of people don't like Hillary Clinton. She has advocated for children. People just don't like Hillary Clinton. What do you see Hillary Clinton's role as going forward? What would be the best thing, Colonel, for Hillary Clinton to do? I know some people out there are going to say, just leave. We don't want to look. We want to hear from you anymore. But she has been a strong advocate, right, in the past?
Yeah. Well, I think that that would be an important thing. A great role for Hillary Clinton right now will be an advocate for women in a lot of these Muslim nations where we really do see the misogynist attitudes that are out there. You know, to speak out against some of these countries like Saudi Arabia and the practices that they have against women and not allowing them to have all of their freedoms. But I think it is time for the Democrat Party to start looking at new blood and infusing young individuals that get out there. Look at the reaction that you've got from John Ossoff down in the 6th Congressional District in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's what they're looking at. And you had a lot of young people came out for these rallies for Bernie Sanders. So that is what they need to start trying to reflect. But they need an economic message for all Americans.
And Colonel, you make great points there. I still say the real war on women, to what you just said, is in the Middle East with the oppression there. I mean, that, and the Democrats still are silent about that. First Lady Laura Bush has been fighting that fight for a long time. It's always good to see you, Colonel. Thanks again.
My pleasure.
Next
Take
up,
care,
could the
Liz.
deal maker in chief negotiate